Welcome to episode 404. Today, I'd like us to look at what to do when you have a lot of business inquiries and you guys are slammed, and so because of that, you can't respond to the messages right now. Is it okay to use automated prompts to give some kind of a response? And is it okay to send out a message saying, we have lots of inquiries now, that's why our response to you is slow? Or should you send a message saying, your inquiry is received. Please allow for 30 minutes to revert to you properly. Now, these questions are not, this is not something that I came up with. It's something that I saw on the interwebs with a social media influencer recommending the latter message. I guess the angle that she was coming from is that when most people are in this situation where you have lots of business inquiries, people are calling in, texting in, sending emails, that the average person would probably say, we have lots of inquiries, that's why our response to you is slow, that sort of thing. And so this social media influencer was proposing that what you should send instead is, your inquiry has been received, please allow for 30 minutes to revert to you properly. Okay, so now, before we begin addressing the issue, I'd like to say that if you have even considered these sorts of issues, considered these questions, and it's been giving you sleepless nights, then we have to give you top marks because at least you appreciate that from a sales perspective, we have to be responsive to our customers. So right now, we're slammed. People are calling us left, right, and center. It's taking about 30 minutes or 1 hour to get back to the phone. We know that we have to be responsive, and that's the reason why we're thinking about these sorts of things. And because of that, if you're somebody who falls into this camp, I'd like to say we give you top marks. We give you 100% for concern. And now in the rest of the episode, we're going to look at what the appropriate response should be. Now, just in case you're one of these people who isn't yet sold on this whole thing of responsiveness, because there are some people, in fact, some very good friends of mine, who their opinion is, look, if they're serious, then they'll be there whenever I get back to them, so I don't have to get back to them right now. So in case you're one of those people who don't think that responsiveness is an issue, and that if the person is serious and they really want it, if they're after you, if they're seeking you or whatever, then they'll wait on you. Actually, the thing is, responsiveness is important because it makes us appear professional and credible. Because whether we like it or not, people associate professionals who are not on the ball when it comes to responding to letters. In the old days, if you sent in a professional or some service provider, like let's say your stockbroker, if you send them a letter and they didn't respond to you after a week or 2 weeks or whatever, it would affect the way you think about them. You think they're unprofessional. And if you went to the SEC, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission, to complain about the conduct of your stockbrokers, it will be one of the things that most definitely you would raise. Now, I'm assuming that in this scenario, we're talking about old school days when we used to use letters. So if responsiveness was a thing back then, responsiveness is also a thing now. So if you're not responding to website inquiries, SMS, DMs, all sorts of things, then it makes you come across as unprofessional, and you don't come across as a credible person. But the most important reason why, in my own opinion, responsiveness is a thing and we should take it seriously, is because your chances of continuing the conversation with the potential client, and closing the sale go up the more responsive you are. There's lots of research now out there in North America and in the UK, those parts of the world. So I suspect that it's going to be easily replicated when it comes to this part of the globe, because when it comes to buying and selling, I doubt that there's significant difference between people in North America and people in Nigeria. Maybe there are some cultural issues about how direct or how assertive one can be and who you should talk to in the sales process and things like that. But I think essentially it's going to be the same. So so customers build momentum with the people who reply soonest and who reply the fastest in the right manner with the right information. So it's not just a simple equation as in I replied first, I'm going to get the business. So there are other things involved as well. Who replied soonest, who had the best approach, who was most helpful, things like that. But regardless of whatever the things are in the matrix, there's one thing that is within our control, and that is how quickly we respond. And so, by all means, as humanly possible, go ahead and respond. Now, I'm not saying that if you are driving to the hospital or driving to an appointment or you currently have a gig, that then you should whip up your phone and then respond right there and then. I'm just saying as soon as you reasonably can. So, however it is that you choose to respond, whether you're going to use automated messages or the two examples that this social media influencer put out there, responsiveness should be your guiding light. You should be thinking about being responsive. Now, let's look at the scenarios that the influencer put up. And now, let's say that you're okay with what it is that she proposed. I will suggest a few tweaks. Number one, I think we should use less formal language because times have changed. So businesses don't have to be that formal and have to be that stuffy. So yes, when it comes to the contract, you can continue with the hitherto, herefore to, where art thou, and stuff like that. 30 minutes to revert and all that. But nowadays, business has become much more conversational and fluid, at least when it comes to the early part of the process. So we're trying to be as less formal as possible. So you have to be clear, but less formal. So I'm not saying use slang, but let's be less formal. Then number two, it would be nice to personalize it where you possibly can, because there's some people who send an email, and then of course at the bottom of the email in their signature you see what the name is, or some people send a DM and you can see the name on the Instagram handle, things like that. So these are little cues or hints that allow us to personalize the message. And then in responding, I think you should also show that a particular member of the team has been given responsibility or has been taking responsibility over getting back to them. And then, of course, a time frame, if you can, which is why that whole thing of 30 minutes to revert was a good move. But we're nice to show that a particular member has been given responsibility. And overall, this will make, if you use these suggestions, less formal language, personalizing it, and showing that somebody in particular has taken responsibility, it'll make it more readable. It will make it easy to relate to, and then it will give them confidence that you are taking this thing seriously, the inquiry seriously, even if it takes 30 minutes or 45 minutes to get back to them. So instead of that whole 30 minutes to revert language, how about saying, "Thanks, Khadija. Your inquiry has been received. Please give us 30 minutes and Kunle, who is a member of our team, will respond to you." So you can see, without any further modifications, that what I proposed is a lot more readable than saying your inquiry is received, please revert, please allow for 30 minutes to revert to you properly. So this is a whole lot better. "Thanks, Khadija," or "Thanks," fill in the name. "Your inquiry has been received. Please give us 30 minutes and Kule, a member of our team, will respond to you." Now, when it comes to these things overall, this is my own personal opinion that I like to put out there, because some folks are afraid of the phone or afraid of responding to things immediately. So lots of people will keep using WhatsApp, automated responses, what else? Instagram allows you to do some automated responses as well, and I think people have found ways to automate responses on LinkedIn and and then for Google and Yahoo, automated responses have been standard. The whole thing that you send an email and then there's an immediate response that goes back to the other person saying, "Thank you very much. Inquiry has been received. Your blah 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 is important to us. Give us 30 minutes to respond." Or Uche is out of the office. She will respond to you when she gets back from her leave on Wednesday, or whatever. So those kinds of messages have been around for a very long time. Now, my own personal opinion, if you want to take advantage of these technologies, yeah, sure, you can do that as a stopgap, but we should be working on being responsive overall, because potential customers don't care how busy you are. So like with the email prompt thing, I tried to reach out to your organization, but Uche is on maternity leave. It's nice that she has given birth to a kid, but the thing is, if I have a problem, I'm not trying to sound mean, but I don't really care if Uche is on maternity leave. I want this thing addressed, and I want this thing addressed. Now, that's in case you're reaching out to your internet provider, for instance, on why you don't have internet, or your internet is crappy where you are. So, yeah, as one human to another, you'll be happy that Uche, just had a baby and she's on maternity leave, but you also need your internet back up and running. So they don't care about all these other circumstances that you guys are swamped, that you have lots of inquiries, and that you have a waiting list that is 30 minutes long or whatever. So potential customers, potential customers these days don't care about that sort of thing. So using that information in your communications process, in my own opinion, it does nothing to improve your chance of closing the sale. Now, there are some circumstances where talking about how busy you are is going to help with closing the sale or increasing your profit margins in the sale. Like, for instance, when you're dealing with certain luxury goods, first of all, the fact that they are not available to everyone is part of the appeal. And so when you're dealing with luxury goods, you can make people pay for a time premium because in some circumstances, the time premium reinforces to people how important they are. So, for instance, let's say this is just that I heard, but I don't know how real it is. But I heard that Rolls-Royce supposedly has a 3-year waiting list. I can't remember if it's Rolls-Royce or Bentley, because on some of their customizable options, like I've seen one of my guys, sales trainer, Grant Cardone, saw his own, I think it was a Rolls Royce, and his was customized so that you could have particular constellations in the ceiling, in the roof of the car. So at night it looks like you have your own what's it called? You're looking at the night sky while you're being chauffeur driven in your Rolls Royce. So anyway, it's just I heard. I don't know how true it is that they have a 3-year waiting list for all those customizations. So if you want constellations to be in your Rolls Royce, or you want a particular kind of hood or tires or whatever, 3 years. So now, in this case, luxury market, exclusive goods. So if you have a 3-year waiting list, it might make sense to communicate to them that you do have a 3-year waiting list. That's assuming that you guys have an option where the big boys and the big girls can pay extra to get to the top of the queue. It's something that you ought to mention, because this is going to reinforce how important that they feel. Because number one, they think time is of the essence to me. How much is it to get to the top of the queue? It's just money. I have loads of money, and they just throw money around to solve the problem and move to the top of the queue, and then get the constellation or custom bumper or custom whatever that they want in their car. So for them, they'll be feeling time is of the essence, and it will make them feel good that they have more money than the other suckers on the queue. So I'm not going to wait 3 years. I'll just pay this thing and I'll have my customization out in 2 months or 3 months or whatever. So these are situations where talking about how busy you guys are might reinforce the sale. No, not okay. Well, in this case, it's reinforcing the profit margins that you can get on the sale. But I'm just saying that generally, outside of these kinds of situations where you're dealing for luxury items, talking about how busy you are doesn't really matter. Now, for some of you might listen to this Rolls Royce thing and think that, look, guy, this is impractical. This would not happen. But the thing is, all you have to do next time you want to travel international is to look at the airport, and you'll see that this happens all the time across different nationalities, across different cultures. So whether you are at Nnamdi Azikiwe in Abuja or Murtala Mohammed in Lagos, and you're trying to fly out to the UK or whatever, you will see Nigerians who walk in, take a look at the queue, and then go to the what's it called? Is it priority booking or something? Go to the priority booking and then pay, and then cut the line, and they'll walk past all you guys. And the rationale is still the same. Now, look, it's only money. I have more than enough money, and I'm not going to be like those suckers. And then they walk ahead of you, and they get to do all the priority stuff, and they get to board before you, and you and your family have to spend 45 minutes or 1 hour or whatever. Well, sometimes in Lagos, I hear that people sometimes have waited up to 2 hours just to clear those massive queues. So that's if you're flying out of Murtala Mohammed in Lagos, Murtala Mohammed International Airport. So yeah, for them it's no biggie. They don't want to stay 2 hours, and so they'll pay and they'll move. And it's also the same on the way back when you're passing through JFK or where or France or wherever it is. If there's a massive queue, the people just take a look at it and then they go and they get themselves a premium pass and then they just slide on through. So this thing is not as far-fetched as you think. So yes, Rolls Royce. Not everybody can have a Rolls Royce. It seems like it's far-fetched. But then flying, we fly all the time, and people will routinely do that to get to the top of the queue. Anyway, I guess I've gone off on a tangent, so let me get back to the main thrust of what it is I was trying to say. So in summary, this is what I think. You should streamline your workflows and make the inbox or the phone or the DMs or whatever somebody's responsibility in particular, so that that person can respond to it as quickly as possible, and that way you can get more responsive overall. Instead of relying on all these automated prompts and all these messages that you're going to send out that don't add value to the customer. And that's the chief detriment of these things, that really they don't add any value. They don't add any value. So so that's my recommendation. So streamline your workflows. Let there be somebody at the office or a member of your team that's the person's chief responsibility. Check Instagram every hour, look at the DMs, respond to everybody that comes in, everybody that sends a message. If people send a message and it looks like they're serious, pass them to me, or pass them to Kunle, or pass them to Uche. Let them deal with that. For the unserious ones, ignore. For the ones that are sending spam, block. You need to have somebody whose job it is on the team doing these sorts of things, so that you can get more responsive. And remember, the goal is this: the more responsive you are, the chances for gaining traction with the customer, gaining momentum, they go up. So respond as quickly as you can. I'm not saying call back immediately or DM back immediately, but as quickly as you can. Just focus on being responsive. It does wonders for the business overall, especially since we're in this day and age where, for some reason, some professionals, wedding professionals included, think that there's no need for me to get back to them. If they are serious, they'll wait. If it's me that they're looking for, they'll wait. So eventually, we will get to that stage where we are superstars in the business, and you're that celebrity photographer or you're that celebrity planner. And remember what I said about luxury markets or luxury goods. Now you have entered that luxury market and the luxury good, and that is the part of the whole thing that you're waiting for this superstar photographer to get back to you. Yeah, that whole exclusivity or whatever can be part of the sales process. But until you get there, until you're that superstar photographer or that superstar wedding planner or superstar cake artist or whatever you are, just focus on being responsive now. When you become a star, then you can snub people and make that a part of your brand. Although that's not something I would recommend personally. Even if you do become a celebrity, fill in the box, celebrity architect or celebrity photographer or celebrity whatever. So thank you very much for listening to today's recording. I'll catch you guys at the next one.